Social changes and consumerism in Morocco and Tunisia. The social aspects of consumerist society were largely disregarded by the Moroccan legislature before 2011, and the response of the Tunisian legislature since 1992 was evidently ineffective. Consumers in this part of the world are witnessing inevitable changes without being actors of their situation. This presentation tries to summarize the reason of a recent social engagement in Tunisia and Morocco. These developing countries were not able to minimize the effect of the informal market. The economic changes had many effects on consumers. In both countries, consumers try hardly to be proactive, but the lack of information and mass consumption create many problems. Local consumers gained a specific protection by the amendment of the civil liability. Unfortunately, in Tunisia, the recognition of a special protection for consumers since 1992 was ineffective. The consumerist culture had a minimum impact on social changes in Tunisia. In Morocco, the efforts done since the last decade were not sufficient. The late evolution of consumerism in Morocco and Tunisia. The legal approach of consumerism will depend on the density of awareness of consumers and suggests practical solutions to face professional abuses. Consumerism in construction at variable speed. In 2014, the Tunisian press announced the closure of the support program for the association agreement between Tunisia and the European Union. This important program had only specific effect on logistical assistance at the level of state institutions. On the contrary, in Morocco, the same program offered an important opportunity for political decision makers. The result of 8 years of work was productive and began to emerge from the ministry's confined offices to reach the public. Consumerism changed by the legal framework. In Tunisia, the contribution of the law on consumers' protection is unrevealed. The Tunisian legislator implicitly refers to the civil liability without introducing specific rules for consumers. In Morocco, at the beginning, the legislator presented the renewal of the rules of classic responsibility. Few years later, a major and unexpected reversal occurred to establish a specific regime for defective products. The unveiled promotion of consumerism in Morocco and Tunisia. In both countries, the consumerist culture appears as a political decision revealed once a year by national institutes. Consumers are voiceless because lobbies are more powerful. Limited social action. The interest of academics for consumer law is recent. This discipline remains largely deficient in Tunisia and Morocco. Few scholars work on criticizing the choices of legislators. This view is not complete in Morocco. Therefore, in Tunisia, the academic scene is very disappointing. In the absence of a clear political effort, the evolution of law must be initiated by civil society. Collective interest. In Tunisia, a national organization is controlling the scene of consumerism since its creation. There are few other associations that work hardly to inform consumers. In Morocco, about 70 associations are distributed throughout the country. The consumer associations in Morocco have seen their number triple this last decade. Some offer a permanent window for the information of consumers. In both countries, spontaneous social actions are more important than the action of associations. Denial of access to justice for consumers. The absence of financial resources restrained the promotion of consumerism on the ground. The associations were established in Tunisia shortly before the adoption of consumers' protection law, but were not provided with effective tools to represent the collective interest. Officials in Morocco used the stable political situation in their advantage and encouraged economic changes through reinforcing economic control. The consumer in both countries is isolated, uninformed, and unassisted, and would not be able to choose to complain or act against a powerful professional. In these particular circumstances, effort to promote and change attitudes must continue in Morocco, and the intervention of scholars and political makers is urgent in Tunisia to prevent the collapse of the economy.